Before I go off on this guy, I have to do the traditional spoiler warning. So, spoiler warning. Now that's out of the way, this asshole keeps getting titles and titles despite being the worst of them all. Kingsguard can't even hold his vow or protect anyone. Gets mad at his employees instead of taking responsibility for his actions. On top of that, he gets Hand of the King because he took action. Like, literally the first thing he does as being Hand of the King is shove his right hand right up the queen's sorry. Let's get to the review. Season 2, episode 2 of Hot D isn't as dramatic as the first episode, but it is just as good. Now, the episode kicks off with Alicent and Aegon mourning the loss of Jaehaerys Targaryen after Daemon sent Blood and Cheese to assassinate Aemon and said they assassinated the heir to the Iron Throne. Now he's getting piggybacks from his great-grandsire up in heaven. However, her father, Otto Hightower, instead of using his time to mourn, he wants to use this for propaganda to make Aegon's claim even stronger by holding a public funeral and parading the body in the streets. And to be honest, from a political standpoint, sure, that seems like a good way to turn a negative into a positive. But goddamn, no sympathy from the Hand of the King. Just always thinking about political strategies rather than my grandson was killed, I also will mourn. But I respect it. And it's funny too, Aegon was saying, hell no, not my son, blah blah blah. This is the same Aegon that watched children fight to the death, in case you forgot. It's so ironic that he's saying no. But they do it anyway for the political upgrade, and Aegon gets his revenge on Blood and Cheese. He kills Blood and then just hangs all the other cheeses out in King's Landing. We see in last episode and this episode where you can see Aegon's sort of being very reckless with his choices, and they're really setting that up. Then we go back to Team Black, and Rhaenyra hears about this and at first questions who could have done this, then sees the look of Daemon just standing there like, oh, and obviously this motherfucker did it. And it cuts to them in the room just having the most accurate depiction of marriage. And Rhaenyra accuses Daemon of the assassination and even goes as far as to say even if they didn't find Aemon to kill the closest thing. And quite honestly, Rhaenyra has every right to say this because Daemon is the type of character to do that. He's always been this out of control, reckless, and dangerous person and is always just looking for a fight. But he's still badass and I still love him. Now Daemon, of course, is off to do what Daemon does, run away and cause chaos, and Rhaenyra has to clean up the mess that Daemon has made. Then this motherfucker right here sees the cloak not white and he questions his purity because his white cloak is dirty, which quite honestly, this is obviously a projection, but this is how he treats his employees. And quite honestly, I hate Sir Criston Cole. I really hate him, and it's like one of those hates for Joffrey. It's like, God, this guy is insufferable. And kudos to the writers, because man, they're really I actually really liked this character in the first season, but as he realized he couldn't get Queen's hand, I was like, okay, this guy's an asshole. He's starting to turn into real asshole. And this man is single-handedly the only reason I can't stand with the Greens. Just stupid and reckless. Now he's got an early 2000s type of plan to infiltrate and murder Queen Rhaenyra. Now he's also the Hand of the King. So yeah, I hate this guy. We also see Aemon mourning the loss of his nephew at a brothel, and he realizes that the assassins were for him as he sees the coin stolen from his room. And I think we honestly forget that even the most badass characters can also feel vulnerable, and we see that here. He was bullied when he was younger, and to better himself, he becomes the most fierce sword in Westeros. And again, these scenes, I love these scenes because they give more in-depth to these characters. This guy isn't just a badass warrior, you know, he's not the kid that has lost his eye. this is a person who still feels sorrow. And then Otto Hightower, the last stable person in Team Green. Despite his sternness and lack of empathy, he actually understands how to rule a kingdom and play the political game. Like, he is actually the best hand of the king when he doesn't have his own schemes going on. He actually is very helpful. And he was the last straw to keep the Greens from being completely reckless. King Aegon tells him, oh, hey, yeah, Sir Criston sent out a knight to assassinate Queen Rhaenyra. And the look on his face when he realizes he's using the twins as a way to infiltrate Dragonstone kills me. Like, he's done. He's done with these guys. And fortunately for him, he actually is done, because Aegon gives the hand of the king to Criston Cole, which honestly, shit's gonna go wacko here. And then Alicent is actually learning from her father and doesn't know how to emotionally be with her son. And she sees Aegon finally showing his emotional side. We see him crying in his chambers, mourning the loss of his son. And instead of comforting like Rhaenyra did for Jace when she lost her very own son, Alicent was like, yeah, I'm gonna just head over here and let you deal with that. More than enough reason to be on Team Black, guys. Like, if you're still on Team Green, I don't know what you're doing. Like, come on now. And then finally, after everything the Greens have been through, the last scene where Alicent and Criston Cole are just going at it. And to be honest, this last scene my girlfriend didn't like. She thought the twins falling on his sword would have been a great scene to cut on, which honestly I agree with. It's very dramatic, but the episode was all about the Greens falling apart. And again, Otto Hightower was the last thing keeping things in check. The last scene where Cole and Alicent are just slapping each other and aggressively doing the deed shows how reckless and aggressive the Greens are going to be moving forward, with Criston Cole being the hand of the king now. And I really like this episode because we're slowly building up to the war and understanding more in detail of all the characters' personalities. Like, we see them being vulnerable as the war between the Targaryen unfolds. We see their emotions more and more. And some of the scenes where they're just dialoguing and talking, it's done so well because they play like theater dialogue, and the camera work also plays like it's a theater. It felt like I was watching a play rather than a TV show with some of these scenes. And it's not as dramatic as the first episode, but I like episodes like these because this is an episode to set up more of the characters. Like, you get to understand where they're coming from, who they are, and that's what I like about Game of Thrones. You get to be closer to these characters, which in turn makes it harder when they die later on. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. It does help me a lot. We are so close to 500. It would be oh so awesome if you guys did that for me. And please like the video and comment down below. Did you guys think that this episode was great? Did you guys think it was okay? But yeah, stay safe, stay beautiful. Love y'all.